Hey, boils and ghouls, this is Brent, and welcome to our Darkest Fears, and welcome to the Dragon Con 40th anniversary panel for Fright Night.
Did any of you see it in the theater? VHS?
My name is Brent Abell, and I'm a dark fiction writer, and my website, Our Darkest Fears, also I talk about horror films, horror books, anything in the genre. And I was 10 years old when Fright Night came out, so actually a couple years later when it was on VHS, it was one of the first vampire movies I ever watched. So it was fantastic. It's still one of my favorite films. I have a movie poster in my office, and I still scream at people on the highway or on the road, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster." When they're in their little pickup trucks that have never been off-road, that have so much aftermarket stuff on them, it's ridiculous.
And you're, oh, yeah.
I'm Bill Mulligan. I'm a podcaster with Crystal and filmmaker, and I have a book and great comment on the website. My experience, I saw it, I was in grad school at the time. I went to see it in the theater, and it was just about right. So I was 24 years old, older than the characters, but actually about as old as the actors. So a little too old for Monster Squad, or a little Monster Squad, but it hit me at just the right age. It was a lot of fun.
I'm Rocky Shields, my 18th Dragon Con. I've known Derek since the Dark Fantasy Drag Days, so, and I've seen this movie so many times. So, hey, we talk about it.
Vanessa Yalta-Wright, I am a filmmaker and I run the Renegade Film Fest here in Atlanta. First time seeing it was not in the theater, I was 9 when it came out, but my parents went and they talked about it so much. So as soon as it came out on VHS, we snagged it, watched it during one of our probably summer parties. And I've loved it ever since.
I'm Christopher G. Moore. I'm an award-winning filmmaker, directing this segment for a horror anthology called Worst Laid Plans, which is now available on Amazon and Tubi. I was a teenager when it came out, and I always rented all the newest horror films that came out. So, and that was always one of my favorite vampire films was Fright Night. So plus, I like horror comedies, so the comedy aspect I loved as well.
So this was Tom Holland's directorial debut, which is honestly kind of shocking for me considering how great the film is. He said this movie was a love letter to the horror fans, and in a time where slashers were starting to become more popular, he wanted to bring back the classic monsters. That's, his favorite. He actually got the idea when he was writing Cloak and Dagger, and so he was like, I wonder what it would be like if a horror fan discovered that their neighbor was a monster. And then he was like, I am that horror fan. He wanted to be Charlie Brewster. So he wrote this film for himself and for all of us that want to be that hero. Why do you think that the premise resonates so well with horror fans then and now? Because this movie keeps picking up fans along the way.
Is this for anybody?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think part of it is that it's kind of based in everyday life. Like it's not this fantastical universe. I mean, this is an average kid in an average neighborhood, and a vampire lives in next door. And for any horror fan, I'm sure has had that exact fantasy to be like, I wonder what it would be like if I experienced monsters. They were in my world and in my life. So I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Why do you think him being a horror fan was so important to this? Do you think that he had a different take mentally as to where the film was going to go?
See, I think him being a horror fan is why we got Peter Vincent. Because he would have been aware of this Saturday night horror shows at the time and made that a major component to the movie. Love letter to the horror fans on that one.
I also think filmmakers in general, if they're making stories and films that their fans have and that they're really passionate about, that comes across. I mean, it's obvious, and they're able to hit all those little nuances that other horror fans will notice and pick up on, which you don't always get
Bigger
Yeah.
studio? Okay, so a lot of people have called this movie campy. Tom Holland has said, in fact, no, this movie is not campy. We're not parodying anything. This film's humor comes from the situations. would you say to those who dismiss this film as campy? Do you see it as campy? I don't. I do think they played it very, very straight.
Yeah,
and
they
the comedy
did.
is just.
Play it straight. I think a lot of horror movies from that era now get looked at as campy, more so than if that was their intention or how it played initially. Like, I mean, I remember when my parents went to see it, they came home and were like, oh my God, like this was so scary and gory and holy crap, Chris Sarandon and, you know, all of this. And I was so intrigued by it. I was like, I gotta see this movie. And I don't remember it being funny the first time I saw it. Like, there were situations within it that were like you would get a chuckle, but it didn't feel like it was playing to the comedy of it. But then I rewatched it this morning just to kind of have it fresh. And oh my, I mean the mom, I mean there's so many things where I'm just like, this is so ridiculous, I love it.
And see, at the age I watched it, to me, the bedroom scene when he comes into the bedroom, Charlie, to me, is one of the scariest scenes. And so for me, I find it campy at all. I thought it, where the humor was, played naturally, and but I mean, I don't find it campy at all. Monster Squad's campy.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the movie's campy, but I think the 80s were campy. And since it's set in the 80s, it kind of gets some of that residual campiness.
Well, I think the campiness can come from because I mean you have your traditional vampire stories, but it goes over the top, you know. Instead of just giving them just a few teeth, they give them like thousands of teeth. So it makes it so over the top, and then also you have Evil Dead. Ed is just like when they become a vampire, they almost become like have more of a personality and a humor about the situation. Like Evil Ed just jumping all around and stuff,
Raggedy
like a
Ann.
goofball. So I think that kind of stuff kind of adds to what people will consider campy, because you have a person that just like melts and then turns into dust at the same time. I mean, there's stuff that kind of doesn't
And
make
yet
sense.
he's
And
still
so
alive
it kind
somehow.
it kind of adds to that, you know. And you have people transferring into like almost like werewolf at some point type thing, transformation. So.
Okay, so briefly mentioned, as most of you know, Peter Vincent's character was based on Peter Cushing and Vincent Price put together. Now, Tom Holland wanted Vincent Price to play Roddy McDowall's character, but he wasn't in good health, so we got Roddy McDowall. Now, what I think is brilliant is Roddy McDowall based his performance on the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz. Yes. And I think, and when you look at it, you can really see it. He's sort of holding his tail, but he's like actually genuinely scared.
I love Vincent Price. We all love Vincent.
Holy water.
Yeah.
And like he sees the reflection in his mirror. He's like, I don't think Vincent Price could have played it the same
I'm not
way.
sure
Like,
he could have
so
reacted in the same way. Yeah.
Well, and at Vincent age, thinking about it, he wouldn't have been able to do like running from the house after Ed he wouldn't have been able to do the physical aspects of the role.
Jerry Dandridge is your typical voice impacted the character. I'll say for me, one of the most terrifying things was when he throws that apple at Charlie, and it is like, that really messed me up. I was like, I don't know why I'm seeing food, but I don't like. Yeah, who does that? And because the seeds are like cyanide. I mean, it's like crazy. But I think it was brilliant. I mean, what a clever thing.
when I kind of look at it as, it kind of makes Charlie the unreliable narrator because, whenever, the chief of police comes in, whenever he makes the call, Charlie's saying he's a vampire. Is a vampire going to stand there and eat an apple? Not usually. So he just looks like a normal dude to the cop.
I never made the connection with the fruit bat. That's actually kind of cool. I always thought it was more of a Satan in the apple tree kind of thing, because he is always offering the chance to be led to become evil and everything. So I took it more as a biblical thing. But yeah, fruit bat works.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they just kind of switched up the lore a little bit to kind of keep me guessing. Like, I mean, even by that time, we were all familiar with the vampire rules. And so that kind of throws it off a bit.
So what's interesting is Bill and I were talking, and he brought something that I had not thought about. What was the first time that we actually saw that a vampire had to be invited in film. Yes, we know it was in literature, but when was it in the first film? Because honestly, I'm like, maybe this, we're gonna need somebody Google it.
I remember it in Lost Boys at the same time.
Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Yes, if y'all have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Oh.
Yeah, they are pretty big.
I think he was so big because they wanted it scary, but memories. But it looks pretty fantastic, I'd say. But what are your favorite practical effects from the film? And are there any that you don't feel hold up today?
My favorite one, because it made me look at, maybe I need to have a pencil in my vampire kit. Because it's like, we talk about this at home, and it's like, that scene is almost really ridiculous. He's in Charlie's room, threatening him. Gets stabbed in the hand with a pencil, and then it's like, whoa, all right. Call him in here. I gotta go home and think about this before I come back and eat you alive. If I want to come back and, yeah, I didn't know there was gonna be pencils involved.
His yelling wakes up his mom, and maybe he doesn't want the cops to go find dead bodies like that. It was always,
That's
I
what
thought,
I think.
yeah, it's like,
Maybe throw out the holy water, throw out the cross, I'm packing the
But that
pencils.
is a good effect.
Oh, yeah, it's a good effect.
So that effect actually came from them watching Excalibur. Does anyone know the film Excalibur? Where Lancelot was actually stabbed and it goes through. So the special effects artist was like, how did they do this? How did they do it? And apparently speaking of, so what he estimated and what he did is he used a retractable pencil because he believed that they used a retractable blade, and then as they did it, fishing line to pull the other piece out, so it looks like it's just all one, and it worked out really well. What's interesting is in the first cut, Tom Holland. It was one take. Tom Holland actually, in the middle of that, put an expression of Charlie. So it ruined the effect. It wasn't all one. And then they told him, you ruined it, you gotta fix it. So he did it all as one take. And I think it looks super impressive.
for me, it was the Peter Vincent Evil Ed scene, just when he puts the cross on and takes it off the skin,
Oh, yeah.
coming off the cross. I just thought the makeup there was absolutely perfect.
I loved Amy's split face because it really looked good and it did have this got to be prosthetic.
Oh,
It looks, I mean,
okay, so
that
you
could
know.
look so silly, but it doesn't.
Okay, but you know what? That was made for free. He went to his friend. Okay, I'm giving you all these like, but this piece was only meant to be on screen for a few seconds. That was it. And so his friend made it for free, and then he liked it so much. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna put it on the poster. We're gonna have this all over." And then, of course, now it's made history. It's like they call it the shark mouth. They envision a shark, which I think it was a shark. Yeah. But to me, I do remember watching it and thinking, I do love it today. But I think back then I was like, why is her mouth not moving?
Well, the reveal is good too because where she's crying.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't say
You promised to protect
and then
me,
he starts
Charlie.
like a sap starts falling for her, and then she looks up and we see, oh, I'm just expecting she's gonna be like but no, she's
So
a shark.
part of that too, Tom Holland said that as a teenage boy, you would be fearful in any sort of phallic, no, I don't want to be too grown, so it was actually meant to like evoke that sort of fear as well, the sexual side of that, which I think is fascinating. That she starts to become a woman, essentially. But her transformation isn't just in her mind, it's also physical. If you know anything, they actually, after she's interned, she had a prosthetic, a chest prosthetic
His long hair.
to decrease, yes,
Even before
to
she
increase her.
changes though, like
The-
she
at the
loses
club,
her little
she's like-
hair clips and now she's.
Yep, she had those bows in her hair. And then, of course, obviously she went and became a redhead for some reason. That's crazy to me. How do you feel the physical transformation helped the film, helped you see her change?
For me, one of the best reveals is when he turns her over and sees her, and his face reaction I thought was perfect. I thought the makeup and everything that they did for that part of the transformation was just perfect.
What's so
The red hair.
Well, one of the interesting things about it is obviously he's a teenage boy, and when he sees someone come to visit Jerry, he's like, hey. But he doesn't think of his girlfriend in the same way. So she's this nice, innocent girl, and yet when he flips her over, is it, whoa, I think it's confusing.
So how old was Anniversary?
She was 26.
So she's 26 years old, playing a person in high school. That actually turned out to be a good choice because once she started turning into a vampire, they just let her actually look the way she should. And she began looking like a 26-year-old. I guess it was easier to take a 26-year-old and make him look like a kid than to take a kid and make him look like a 26-year-old. Whatever, it worked.
He was 24. He looks like a baby.
Well, plus Chris Sarandon was in his 40s, and had they used an actual 16-year-old, that would have been super creepy.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Well, I had a problem with it because she doesn't look like the picture, right? So when he first sees her, and he's talking to Billy Cole, and he's like, she looks just like her, doesn't she? And then her transformation really doesn't look like that.
Right.
It looks more like her as her younger self. Her hair's shorter, I think. So it's like, that was like a disconnect for me a little bit. Like, why was she trying
And they didn't really do anything with that. Is she the reincarnation? Is it just his mind?
Right, exactly. That was kind of a false thing that I didn't want to get such information.
It is a huge
Yeah,
show.
right. Man, go back to Dracula.
Mina, he's definitely weird. So why is he still so popular today? Why do we quote him?
Well, like growing up in the 80s, it's like, for a lot of us, we were Ed.
Yep.
We see ourselves in Ed, so we identify with Ed, and we're still Ed.
That's true.
If you had a group of friends, okay, let's say you weren't the most popular group in high school. I know this stuff none of you can relate to this. But in anyone in that group, there was always the one who, even among the outcasts, was an outcast. It could make everyone felt better about themselves because you're not like Ed.
Yeah.
So he's incredibly annoying as folks like that are, but there's also that vulnerability. And the actor did a great job when he does accept the vampire's offer. That tear that came down, pretty genuine. It was, you get why he would make that choice. It's a terrible choice. Nobody should ever make a choice like that. You can see why the promise of power and revenge, never get beaten up. He drops that in there and you realize, yeah, this guy gets beaten up a lot. Good
Well,
performance.
even his own friends kind of bully him by calling him evil. So even the people that he's closest to aren't treating him properly because you can tell he doesn't like being called evil. So then it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to become evil, become what you keep calling me.
Well, I mean, he did say, "Oh my God, all their heads were chopped off."
Well, he has a dark sense of humor.
Yes.
But, someone that grew up a horror nerd, like in the 80s, people kind of look down on you as a weirdo.
Mhm.
Even saying that though, he was still loyal. I mean,
Yes.
he paid Peter Vincent to help his friend. So to me, that was the thing I like. That's about it.
This film would have been received if that had been the ending, because everyone basically said, "Oh no, we're gonna have this nice, sweet ending, and then somehow evil Ed is gonna still be alive, and you can see his eyes," which is crazy. I don't understand.
To me, the Peter Vincent thing would have been let it more in the can.
That I agree. I kind of like the darkness of it, but there's something about this kind of sweet ending that makes you feel good.
And we just get you're so cool, Brewster. One last time.
Give me a happy ending. Happy ending with the implication that there will be a sequel. Glowing red eyes, perfect. That's what evil is still out there. And another movie about it. But I don't like it when we just kill off heroes just for a shotgun or something. Peter Vincent was such a sweet guy. I want to see that happen too. Also,
That's close to different. How do you feel about that? Do you
I thought they gave the mother more to do, and that was probably my favorite aspect of the film.
Yeah, I like Anton. I think he's a fantastic actor. There's just something about the original that, I don't know, just feels so different. And I don't know if it's because I saw it as a child, you know.
That it needs a mother.
Yeah, exactly, yes. Good. There was a question. Yes.
I was going to remark on the ending change. I think it was just a product of its time, and that horror movies had to have a happy ending. People had needed to leave the theaters not feeling depressed because they had to change the endings of Rocky Horror when they made the movie. They had to change the bad end, the unhappy ending from the musical, and the same thing happened with Little Shop of Horrors. The musical doesn't have a happy ending, and for Hollywood, they said it had. And the original, when they originally filmed it, they filmed the same ending, and they had to go back because the test audiences were like, they don't win in the end. So, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard, it's not they're planning on doing a novelization of the
I enjoyed it, and there was some cool stuff. There's a problem with me. I don't feel like anyone could be Jerry, and I find myself comparing him to everyone else. And Christopher Sarandon, like, I know he was a theater actor, and you know, like when he got the script, he was like, "No, I'm not doing a movie called Fright Night." And then he read it and he loved it so much that this amazing actor decided to do a horror film. And I just feel like he did knock it out of the park, and I don't know that anyone can compare. Because even though it's a sister, you know, it's not supposed to be a comparison. What about y'all? Did y'all love it?
I think the concept could have worked, but same with like so many sequels. Like, let's see more bad guys. And they're all the campy sidekicks. Like, to me, that just didn't work. And like the other big thing is, like you were saying, they thought about Peter Vincent attorney. The whole Charlie part, I thought just was drug out, and I didn't care for. Kind of took him out of the movie for half the movie.
I heard something about roller skates.
Yeah.
In our house because I'm like team original, and she's like team remake,
I think that's great, though.
and that's because she's like, who would ever go for Gary Dandridge? She's like,
Wait, what?
What's a bold statement?
Colin Farrell and David Tennant.
Yeah, that's great. So I didn't see the sequel, but I think what makes Chris Sarandon's Jerry Dandridge work so well, and why that actor in particular, he brought such an intensity to the role. Like, if you really pay attention to his physicality, like, he doesn't slouch, he's very confident in his stance, he's very intentional, he does not blink, like, his stares are very intense, and I think that, the music, and I mean, I think that's why the club scene works.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he's
just
sharky.
so-
He's totally sharky. And I mean, like, you can literally see him, like,
And you're like, I'm turned on, but I'm terrified.
I love the 80s when they're dancing and she sees the mirror.
oh, and so the club scene took 2 weeks to shoot, which is really a long time for such a small scene. But that scene was.
But see, but I think one thing we haven't really talked about, the filmmaking is really great in this film.
Yes, it is.
There's a really cool zoom shot where he's looking across the way of the window when Dandridge is in the window, and it blows in and the curtains blow, and it's like, it works perfectly. And you have the kinetic movement of when he's in back form and how it comes down, and which for that particular time period, I'm wondering how did they pull it off to where it was kind of seamless. So yeah, there's a lot of things with that. I think with the sequel, it almost like leaned into the campiness a whole lot more and the visuals a whole lot more, where it felt like pure 80s on Nitro, but not really fitting for
It didn't have the
story.
depth.
Like almost all sequels in the 80s had lower budget.
Lower budget, and they just amped up the colored lights a whole lot more.
Okay, we're unfortunately only got a